Um, Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Wealth Management Advisor Club meeting. Today is a big meeting, and I have been promoting this for weeks. And I am so excited that we get to have the honor and privilege of having Barth Frank come in from HSBC. Guys, please give me your undivided attention, and guys, please ask questions. Please do. And Barth, I'll let you take it away, and also I will now you to share. I'll do that right now. So,
all right, so you can see I changed my virtual background to Yankee Stadium, right?
Yep.
Opening day today. Not for the Yankees because of the rain, but for the rest of the league. And hopefully it'll feel a little normal this year, right? This time of year, I usually use it as my Zoom background. And then I'll change over to my HSBC Zoom background. So love being here, love being in front of you guys. I'm not gonna go into any slides, all right? I'm just gonna talk to you guys. As Pat knows, I do have a slideshow formally around the graduate program. I'll talk to you guys about it, but I also wanna talk to you guys about a post-COVID world, right? And the world that you're in right now as students, as maybe even part-time workers, and the world you'll be entering, right? Whether in traditional financial services, brokerage, fintech, digital, or elsewhere, as far as what that world may look like. So I've been with the organization, I'm approaching 21 years. All within wealth and personal banking. Only Pat and I probably could remember when it was called personal financial services. Right, so that was 3 acronyms ago. Recently, a year and a half ago, we merged with the private bank. And then around 3 months ago, we finalized the sale of our branch network on the East and West Coast to Citizens and Cathay Bank. And I'll get to that in a second as far as the strategy. So there's been a lot going on, right? As far as strategic change for the business within the global conglomerate known as HSBC. We're in over 65 countries. On any given day, we're either the first or second largest international bank. Any given day, we're the 10th or largest in the United States, and that's even after our branch sale. So what we've done basically, we looked at ourselves strategically, and what we were doing is we were operating a regional brick and mortar business with international footprint. Like I said, in over 65 countries, the branch network did not make sense for us anymore, especially as we entered a more digitized world where our customers, and now especially post-COVID, want to have a balance of the human touch versus digital service solutions and products. Now, what you guys are on the cusp of is that balance between digital and human interaction. And all of that was expedited by COVID. When you guys were little kids, there was something called the financial crisis of 2008. And the banks came out of that looking really poor as far as image, right? Name brands were destroyed or became obsolete. For COVID, it was the reverse story. The banks reacted within 24 hours seamlessly. And that is across business lines. That would include global banking, global markets, investment banking, commercial and corporate banking, private banking and wealth, and retail banking and brokerage services. We had people operating at home, and Zoom was a big part of it, right? Talking to their customers, holding their hands, and we gained a lot of the respect that was lost in 2008 back due to COVID. Obviously, when you come out of a crisis, sometimes good things come out of those things. And what the banks now have been looking at is their bottom line. And they're being very transparent on their decisions. Most are entering a hybrid, let's say, functionality. Unless you're, let's say, on the trading desk, right, where you're facing off against customers in offices or branches every day. They're realizing they don't have to spend as much in real estate. They could spend more even on their people, the well-being of their people, and their digital capabilities to serve their customers ever faster. Because as the generations, right, pass on, the speed of service and solutions is dependent for our survival and our success. And there's a lot of money invested in that. There'll always be a customer-facing need, the human touch, but in combination with digital and virtual solutions at the customer's fingertips, whether that's a service transaction, a product, research, etc. So what I'm starting to see from students, right, over the last 3-4 years when they apply either directly to entry-level roles or to the bank, is a mix addressing that, where I might see an economics major or a business management major with a computer science or a statistics minor. I used to see it where it was traditional business or finance, both the major and the minor, or a double major. But now I think the universities and the students are recognizing to have a big data, analytics, statistics, computer science major or minor, along with a traditional business major or minor, is beneficial for the university, for the student, and for the corporations, as far as feeding talent into the new world. There was a lot of things that within 72 hours that were planned a year, 2 years down the road that had to come to the forefront for us to continue as a nation and as a bank, right, in moving things forward throughout COVID. So let's talk about office, right? We have entered a hybrid model for wealth and personal banking. So I'll be in the office gradually, probably 2-3 days a week. Right now it's 1. We have a team day. Other people are coming in a second day as, a flexible day. And my first question when I do student engagements like this or university presentations, whether on campus or through Zoom, is how am I going to network? How am I going to meet people? How am I going to move my career forward? The hybrid world works both ways if you know how to use it. And there was a lot of interns, in fact, from last summer's internship that said they actually enjoyed the hybrid world, meaning they can meet a senior manager in the office, or they could schedule a quick Zoom with them, for a coffee talk just to get acquainted, right? Find out information, get career advice, industry advice. I actually think it's beneficial. I'll use myself as an example, and Pat knows this. So Pat and I used to organize presentations, right, at our world headquarters at 452 Fifth Avenue, or, right, at our business offices at 330 Madison. Well, that was a whole day event because we had to get badges, we had to get security clearance, we had to take you up on the elevator, we had to get a conference room. And that's great, and we're still going to do that. but that would be one school, maybe two in one day. During high recruitment season, I could do 3, 4, or 5 of these type of engagements with various universities, clubs, nonprofits, and it's efficient for everybody as far as the flow of their day and getting things done. Nothing obviously replaces eye-to-eye contact, right? In a human world, so to speak, but in a virtual world, there is efficiencies. Just using that as a small example. So those are the worlds that you'll be entering. Now, what I wanted to do, so I just understand where everybody's at before I get into the grad programs, is kind of just go through introductions, right? What year you are, which campus, and what's your major and minor. So why don't we start with Gloria?
Yeah, sure. Hello, how are you? Thank you for coming.
Sure.
My name is Gloria. I'm a sophomore accounting major, and I'm actually the VP of the club. So thank you so much for coming. I don't have any minors for now, maybe in the future, but my major is accounting.
Okay, so you heard my advice
Yes.
for a minor, right?
Thank you.
Big data,
Appreciate it.
statistics, analytics. I'm even talking to my own daughter about it, right? And she wants to go pre-law. I said, well, technology is going to need lawyers, right? And the better you know the language, the better off you'll be. Well, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we'll go over it, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing. Gary? Gary there?
Ari's there. On.
All right, we'll go back. Jason? Jason and Colada? All right, we'll move over to Joseph Lawton.
Hi, my name is Joseph Lawton. I'm a sophomore at FDU, and I'm an accounting major and a finance minor.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Joanna.
Hello, my name is Joanna. I am a junior finance major with a minor in wealth management.
Great. Welcome. And what year are you in, Joanna, again?
I'm a junior.
Great. Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm a senior. My major is international affairs with a minor in sustainability.
Another big piece I'll get to later. Sustainability. Zoe.
Hi, my name is Zoe. I'm a marketing major with a minor in graphic design.
What's your minor?
Sorry, graphic design.
Oh, okay. Vincenzo. Vincenzo? Is Gary back?
Guys, please put your cameras on. Please put your mics on. Please.
All right, why don't you guys introduce yourselves in the classroom there?
All right. So my name is Jack Mitchell. You guys probably know I'm the president of Wealth Management Advisory Club. I'm a major in accounting. And yeah, it's basically all about me.
Hi, Barth. My name is Dominic Aquilio. I'm from the Forum campus. My major is sport management. And this year I added a minor in business administration.
Okay.
Also, I'm a sophomore student.
All right, great. Love that I'm talking to sophomores and juniors, right? Your timing actually is pretty good. So let's talk about the grad programs, right? Grad analyst programs. You'll have the chance to apply to them, right? Beginning this summer. So you'll be able to apply to global banking and markets, the private bank, wealth and personal banking, or the commercial banking programs. Those are the 4 graduate programs globally for HSBC. If you go to hsbc.com and you go to careers, students and graduates, you could read about our internship analyst programs, which we use as a stepping stone into the grad analyst programs. We have rising junior programs, depending on the business line, rising senior internship programs, and then you could apply the grad analyst programs as a senior, because we usually have a few spots after we convert our summer interns to fall offers. So the seniors fill those remaining spots. Does everybody understand the sequence there? So ultimately, you could be a rising junior, get an internship, come back as an intern for your rising senior year, and get an offer to come back into a permanent role in the grad analyst rotational program within the business line that you applied to. So I would say with wealth management, there would be a lot of interest in the private bank, a lot of interest in wealth and personal banking, and then commercial banking and global banking and markets. Now, to be transparent, global banking and markets is highly competitive. They're all competitive, but highly competitive. They're their highest salary, longest hours, right? And you're going up against some of the best university students around the world. Now that goes for each business line, but even more so in global banking and markets. But if you have an interest in the individual customer, providing solutions to them, facing off against them directly, let's say with your securities licenses, both on banking and brokerage, then the private banking or wealth and personal banking programs could be for you. Or if you want to work in the center or back office in that business line, supporting our front line on projects, right? Like digital, credit, mortgage, checking, savings, right? Digital banking. That's another avenue to take within that program. Like I said, all are rotational. So in private bank, you might do a rotation in credit, trust and fiduciary services, individual wealth solutions, product advisory. With wealth and personal banking, you may do a rotation with digital, unsecured and credit card, mortgage, the customer experience, wealth strategy. Those are the areas that comprise the two programs within wealth and personal banking, which would be the traditional wealth and personal banking program and the private bank. If you want to go to the commercial banking side, right, you're dealing with mid-sized companies and helping them with their credit, their banking, their online banking, and how to operate their businesses on a day-to-day basis. As you can imagine, we get thousands of applications. In size, global banking and markets is by far the largest, and it has the most sub-programs because you have global banking, global markets, global research, investment banking. Then the next size down would be probably equal between commercial banking and wealth and personal banking, including the private bank. You're looked on in the graduate program as a future leader, starting with your internship. Many of our senior managers started in the graduate programs when they started their career, not necessarily at HSBC. There's graduate programs at many of the banks and even other organizations in other industries. So when you do apply to a graduate analyst program, I would say don't put your eggs in one basket. Apply to several of them and apply to other graduate program analyst programs in other industries that might be tied to finance or financial services. Most people choose to apply after they graduate to the grad analyst programs because they are maybe unsure of explicitly what they want to do. And the rotations give them an idea of what their strengths and areas of development are. And you come out twofold, knowing what you want to do at that point usually, and even more well-rounded, including maybe the areas you don't want to be in. Because you learn from those areas and you have those skills and knowledge now. Grads have a desire to learn. They're flexible, dependable, open-minded. They take projects in new and different directions. They ask for more. They're very inquisitive. And a lot of the grads today care about sustainability, which was mentioned earlier as someone's minor. Sustainability is a major focus for the bank. If you pick up the Wall Street Journal any day, there is something about corporate sustainability on the front cover, whether it's climate action risk, going green, ESG investing, diversity hiring, governance. This is all tied to making the world a better place. And the banks are driving this, not only for themselves, but with their customers who are asking for help and advice in changing their models to become more sustainable for a better world. So I think I about covered what I wanted to. I'm going to open it up to questions, and then I might go off on spiels off those questions, right? So who wants to be the brave first one?
Hey, Barth, maybe I'll go.
Sure.
So everyone is looking at the sociological effects of COVID. Have you seen changes in your employees or your customers in any meaningful way of how the employees, they change their career aspirations, their work ethic, customers, their hopes and dreams? As you know, that's what we base all our wealth management recommendations on. Is there anything you can share there that is even maybe an aha to you compared to what you would have thought pre-COVID?
Yeah. So let's talk about the customer as the individual customer. And it's a great question. I love diving into depth into this. Even in informal situations, I love talking about it because it really is unbelievable what we've gone through as a world, a country, and as an industry and a bank. When the world kind of shut down in March 13th, 2020, a lot of the customers had not come along with digital aspects that were being provided to them. They were still looking to pick up the phone or email their banking representative. And this goes for all business lines. What they were actually forced to do, because there was no brick and mortar office, right? People knowing that their bankers now were at home, still there to service them, but also had needed to take care of their families. They had to embrace digital and technology. That has been the biggest change from a customer engagement standpoint, both pre-COVID and post-COVID. And it probably expedited, this is my opinion, our decision to get rid of our brick and mortar small branch network as an international bank. Now, other banks still believe in their brick and mortar model for a variety of different reasons, right, depending on the organization. But that's been the biggest change. Now, let's talk about the employee. at first, a lot of employees were going through a lot. They were getting used to a virtual world, how to operate on Zoom. What is this? Especially people that worked in the branches or in the office 5 days a week. You know, I went to the office 3 days a week, so I was kind of used to working from home for 2 days. But when you have salespeople, right, who had to get used to it rather quickly, it was a lot for them all at once, you know, to bring it all together. But with encouragement and training and support from the bank, they got it done. And now many of them could operate in a hybrid world, even if they're facing off against customers. Many were going through personal issues, right, with the kids. Maybe their wife or husband's work was affected, right, as far as even losing their jobs. Businesses, right, shut down and needed loans. Some of the employees' spouses were business owners. And the bank, I have to give credit to, all the employee resource groups rallied around each other. The focus on well-being, nutritionally, mindset, mental well-being was front and center. And just as equally as important, and I'm proud to say this, right? Just as equally as important as the customer. And I think we've gotten over that. I think now that people know they have the flexibility, that if they don't want to sit at home that day, they could go to the office. In fact, they just renovated the 5th floor, right? And made it very futuristic, homey, with these Star Trek pods that you could do meetings in, coffee stations, couches, tables that everybody could plug into, giant flat screen TVs, right, that you could use either for news, video, or for a conference call. And it was showcased this week, right, in, I think it was the New York Times, as an example of what the floor might look like for a bank or financial services. Now, the trading floor is the trading floor. That'll always look that way, right? But I sense now people, hopefully coming out of COVID, are thinking more positive about the future of the world for themselves and for financial services, because now it's not looked upon that if you want to stay home that day and you want to go see your son's baseball game at 5 o'clock, you can do that as long as you get your work done. A lot of people hop on the computer at 7 to 9 and get some stuff done. Well, in the old days, when you had a commute, you didn't really have that flexibility. So on commuting days, you organize one way. On your non-commuting days, you might not organize another way. I've found it very efficient, the hybrid. I started to go back to the office in October, then Omicron hit. So I was out of the office for another couple months, but now recently, over the last month, I've returned to the office once or twice a week. So that's from a customer perspective and from the employee perspective. Pat, did I cover it? Did I miss something? Anything else you want me to dive into?
No, Bart, that was great. That was great. Thanks. Because what I try to impress with students is how they need to prepare for this work environment, and that it's not the same work environment as you said that they may have thought it would have been when they entered university 3-4 years ago. And the whole aspect of communicating differently in video is just taken on such a different field than what it was pre-COVID as well. You know, how you present yourself, how you communicate, how you are effective. It's just, we're in a different world. And I think you did a nice job really helping these folks get a little bit more of an understanding of what it's going to be like when they get out and get into a company like HSBC.
Yeah, I would say embrace it. Become an expert on it.
Yep, no, I agree.
And use school even to do it, right? There's certain areas of school, whether it's certain classes where you're virtual, you have the option to be virtual, right? Where you kind of balance it out with your own personal schedule, your own study schedule. So you're better prepared, right? When you do enter that world. Any other questions around customer engagement, employee engagement, or anything else around the grad programs maybe?
Can you,
Come on, it's
I
gotta be.
actually have a question. I'm sorry.
Sure.
Can you please explain more about the different types of internships that you offer?
Yeah, so it's 4 business lines, right? So HSBC is comprised of basically 3 business lines. But Wealth and Personal Banking has 2 graduate programs. Private Banking, which is more customer facing or support of customer facing. You're talking about supporting affluent customers and providing solutions for their business and personal needs in the private bank. Wealth and Personal Banking, right, is for your affluent customers, but more center and back office strategic projects tied to products, digital services, capabilities, and you do different rotations while you're in the program. You might have an assignment or 2 as an internship. And that's how you enter the workforce at HSBC through the grad program. You come off of it as somewhat of another degree. Some people might look at it as an advanced degree. Many of the grads did 4 rotations after they got their undergrad. And now we're working a variety of different positions within the business or within the bank, depending on which business line you came out of. And we use the internships as a stepping stone. So if you're a high performing intern, you'll get a chance to come back to the grad program following your senior year.
That is great, thank you. And is there anything offered like for accounting students specifically?
Yeah, accounting students, I look at all majors. I've hired history, I've hired philosophy. Accounting is part of finance.
That is great. Thank you so much for explaining. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Like if you don't want to be in a traditional accounting with, let's say, the Big 4 or an accounting firm, and you want to look to financial services companies are very open-minded to accounting majors because you can land a role in audit, you can land a role in risk, compliance, finance, let alone some parts of the business.
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
I have a question.
Okay.
By the way, my name is Kevin Ryan. I think you skipped over me, but I'm a senior.
Oh, I missed you. I'm sorry, Kev.
It's okay. No hard feelings. I'm a senior. I'm a finance major in the 4+1 program. So I have a question.
You have 1 more year to go.
Almost there. I'm someone who wants to aspire to be in commercial banking myself. I like the idea of investment banking, but I haven't received that opportunity yet. So in the meantime, what steps can I take to get myself there? Maybe build some skills or start out in retail banking.
Commercial banking or investment banking?
Oh, I'm sorry. Investment banking.
All right. So do you have any internships this summer?
Yeah, in retail banking.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this summer, what I suggest you do is speak to somebody in investment banking there. Start to network, create a name brand for yourself, but don't lose your eye on the ball with the retail bank. Excel as much as possible there. I will also say this to you. If you know right away there's no shape, way, or form that you want to be in retail banking, then don't waste your time there. I know investment banking is tough to break into sometimes, right? But use this opportunity with the retail bank to get your foot in the door with the investment bank. What is it, a local Jersey bank?
Yes, Connect One.
Okay, so there you go. Speak to them. Have your manager, once you're acclimated, introduce you to somebody in either investment banking or global banking or markets. Start there. Create your network there. Because they might know somebody else, right? And then maybe don't be afraid to apply to some of the big banks for their investment banking programs, as well as some of the smaller boutiques, whether they're in Jersey, New York, or the surrounding area. Utilize social media to introduce yourself. LinkedIn, obviously. Ask for some time from somebody's profile that you recognize as somebody you want to talk to. People love to talk to emerging talent about where they've been, what they do, what their views are of the world, right? And Pat, I'm going to speak to you if you're here, right? That's why Pat went back to speak to you guys and teach you guys, because he has a true passion for it. So don't be shy. I mean, LinkedIn has become such a tool for students to get in touch with me and other managers, and vice versa. But take the opportunity this summer to meet as many people as you can. And if it's in that specialty area, certainly that area. Does that help?
Yes, thank you very much for your response.
Sure. All right, who's next? Oh, there's got to be more questions.
I have a question. Can you explain what are some tasks or like projects you're currently working on?
Well, there's tons of projects, right? So there's a part of the bank called transformation, which is always looking to change the bank for the better. A lot of times that's tied to working with the technology team. And basically what you're doing is you're supporting the business stakeholders or senior managers who operate and control a certain part of the business. So as a grad, the last few years, some of the grads have worked on solutions, right, to make our digital banking faster, make our wealth platform more accessible, make our customer service more efficient, help with new technology, right, such as chat, as to where to insert that, both on the wealth side and the banking side. Product development, customer communications, all tied to 6 or 7 foundational areas of personal or private banking: checking, savings, risk, which is insurance, business banking, if it's a business owner, mortgage, personal credit. Mortgage is the foundation for most people's wealth in this country, their home. And that ties to a lot of solutions and collaboration with other parts of the bank and other parts of the business. So many of the grads become leads on these projects, talking to senior managers, engaging them, working with risk and compliance, making sure everything is copacetic before they launch. So when you go onto your banking app and you're like, I like this part about the app, or I don't like this part about the app, that's a perfect example of what you might be working on if you were to work for a bank in a project management role.
That is great. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Is it okay if I ask a question, Barth?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I'm not by the way, my name's Dominic, Aquilio. I'm not a finance major. I'm a sport management major. I was
That's a growing business these days, right?
Yeah. I was wondering at HSBC, have you hired any people with a sport management background, business type of background, and if so, where have they kind of worked in? I'm just kind of curious about that.
I can't explicitly remember, but I think maybe I have, either as a minor or a major. Look, sports management came about as a major in the late 80s, right? As sports salaries and contracts exploded and it became big business. With sports management, you're applying to sports management firms, right? And those have grown. Some are huge, some are small boutiques that specialize, whether that's just on the athlete side or both on the athlete and maybe the conglomerate side, meaning the league side. There's different avenues you can take within sports management. Maybe you go into sports management through the advertising world, through the sales world, and I'll get to that in a second. So I look at sports management as just a subset of business management with a specialty to sports, right? And all the moving parts that are involved in driving that billion-dollar industry today. For the banks, I think a lot of the sports management majors would be great probably facing off against customers. Many of them I've come across, right, like the team environment, like to make the sale, like competition, right? And like helping their teams and their customers acquire solutions. So for you, I would apply to both the banks and the sports management, large and small companies. I know some people that have wanted to get into sports management have started working as interns for teams, leagues, minor league teams. And if you read their stories and follow their paths, you know, that could be helpful as too. There's many successful young sports management folks, general managers out there, right? Who had a passion for sports, wanted to be in that business and started at the bottom and worked their way up. And you should read about their stories.
As a follow-up of that, I know you were mentioning me working for some of those firms. I've heard of IMG Management. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It was founded by Arnold Palmer and some of the other people.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Would that be a potential firm that you were referencing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now, obviously, there must be thousands of people applying to IMG.
Right.
So like I said before, you know, you could talk to people in the industry, maybe get in touch with somebody who's at a junior level at IMG through LinkedIn to introduce yourself. Maybe you guys have something in common. And don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't care what I have to do. This is my passion. I'll prove it to you. Can we meet for a cup of coffee?
No, no, thank you for the suggestion. I know that this is more like a wealth management. I just wanted to get your, I always like to get people's advice on where to go. So thank you for the advice.
Any other questions you guys have for Barth? Anyone on Zoom?
What do we have, an hour, right?
Yeah, so we got 14 minutes left.
Did Gary ever join us?
Yeah. There. Come on, guys, any questions? Any question you guys have? Really, he's here for you guys.
All right, so this is what I want everybody to do is hit me up on LinkedIn.
We definitely will.
If what I'll do is, Pat, once the recs are opened, as usual this summer, I'll cascade it to you, Mary and Patricia, and I'll send it to you, Jack. And then you can cascade it to the membership. If you guys want to reach out to me in June or July for the link to apply, take my email address and I'll send you it personally. Okay, it's Barth, B-A-R-T-H, .Frank at us.hsbc.com, and I'll share the links with you that are live at that point. And it's usually all the business lines, internships, and grad programs.
I'm sorry, can you please write your email in the chat, just so that we can check if we have it right?
I can't go into chat. I don't have chat capability because
Oh,
I'm
okay.
licensed. Because I'm licensed. How about that one, Pat?
No, I meant like the chat in the Zoom.
Barth exchange, right?
So it's Barth, B-A-R-T-H, .Frank at us.hsbc.com. So come this summer, you guys can email me for the link. Try in June or July, and I'll share those with you. Global banking markets might open the end of April, beginning of May. The rest of the business lines soon after. Application process. You're going to go through some screenings. You have to hit certain thresholds that we review. If you hit those thresholds, you then go into formal review of your resume, your application, and then you might be asked to come in for what's called a super day, which is around a 3-hour interview comprised of 3 or 4 different exercises with a senior manager panel. That's for both intern and grad. Most of the banks operate that way. Some of the banks have 8-hour interviews for investment banking. Ours is usually 3 or 4 hours. And also go to hsbc.com, go to careers, go to students and graduates, and read about our various programs. Jack, I'll send you that link so you can share it with everybody.
We'll definitely do it, Barth. Definitely do that.
And read about the programs. See which ones truly interest you.
Anybody, any other final questions for Barth? You on Zoom?
I hope I was thorough.
Yes, thank you.
What's the Yankees bringing back Bird? What's that about?
I know, I read that. I couldn't believe it. I think they're hoping to get lightning in a bottle there. It's crazy. But I'm happy for him, I guess. Yeah, it should be an interesting season for sure. One of my new colleagues from the UK just joined us. He's going to the Yankee Red Sox game. He doesn't even know the rules to baseball. But he has like box seats behind the first base dugout. He's all excited.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And he's an English soccer fan, like true English soccer fan. So I said, well, you couldn't have picked a better game, Yankees, Red Sox.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I go, hopefully a fight will break out for you. But the weather's supposed to warm up next week, so looking forward to that. All right, and you guys could always reach out to me individually if you want some time.
Barth, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, it's great seeing you, Pat. Say hello to everybody, Jack. Thanks for
Thank you
putting
so
it
much.
together.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you guys taking the time out, really do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Have a good
Bye.
You too.
Everybody, members, e-board stay on. Just a second, we'll just stop the recording.